August 4th. Excludes alcohol. Prices and full T's and C's at altifest.ie.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, the 23rd of May, Jackpot Day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €11,200 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S4. It's game number 21. The jackpot number is 19. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers: 61, 45, 70, 84, 65, 47, 53, 29, 48, and finally 57. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
I'm Fanula Fibre O'Farrell Flynn, here now with broadband breaking news. Tens of thousands of people across Ireland are now connected to National Broadband Ireland's high-speed fibre broadband network. This rollout will see over 1 million people living their best lives with fast, reliable and consistent broadband. Why not join them? Check your air code at nbi.ie. NBI is delivering the government's national broadband plan. Over 1 million? That's breaking news.
At AXA, we know running a home can run up your costs too. That's why you can save up to 30% on our home insurance. Get a quote today. Together, we've got this. AXA. Know you can. Policy terms and conditions apply. Minimum premium is €160. A 30% discount is available after 3 consecutive years claims free, 15% after 2 consecutive years, and 10% after 1 year claims free. AXA Insurance DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Charge into summer with TUI. Secure your holiday today with savings for families and adults flying from Dublin, Cork and Shannon. Holiday sorted. TUI. Live happy.
Around the Northwest is coming live this Thursday from iMotors as part of their Kia and Nissan 242 event in Drumkeen. Find out more about the incredible offers across the full range of Kia and Nissan, including 0% finance on the Kia Niro EV or the amazing 10,000 off the new Nissan Leaf. So join us at iMotors this Thursday from 12 p.m.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio, and for the next 2 hours, or not far off 2 hours, we are continuing our series of local election debates, and our focus today is going to be on Lifford Stranorlar. As you may well be aware, 6 seats available. There are 12 candidates contesting, and to give everyone as fair an opportunity to speak as possible, we have split this area into 2, as we have had to do with a number of them. And we have 2 people who declined. Independent Niall McConnell was invited. He wasn't available or didn't want to come. Gerry Crawford, Fianna Fáil, declined, unavailable or didn't want to come. I'm not really quite sure of the reasons, but we still have a very interesting panel for you. Garvan Connolly of Fine Gael, Rebecca McDaid of AONTU, Frank McBrearty JR, an independent, Charles Ward, 100% Redress, and Tony McDaid of Sinn Féin. And hopefully you'll get to hear from all of them over the course of the next while. So what we'll do is we'll do what we did so far, and that's give everyone an opportunity for a minute or so just to describe who they are and why people might vote for them. And I'll go anti-clockwise and start with you. Good morning to you, Rebecca McDaid AONTU.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Greg. My name is Rebecca McDaid. I was McNamee. I was a self-employed hairdresser for 18 years, and I retrained as an SNA. I now work as an SNA and PA as well. And I decided to go with this for the selection this time because we had actually originally thought about going to Australia, and we decided against that, and it was time to stay in Ireland and fight the cause here in Ireland and try and support our people here.
And well, we'll hear more from you as it wears on. We'll go first, so we'll go next now to Garvan Connolly of Fine Gael. Garvan.
Yeah, Good morning, Greg, and good morning, listeners. My name is Gerry McConnell. I'm from Kerry Gordon. I'm actually a special needs educational teacher and also a farmer. I actually would have ran in the 2019 election. I was very unsuccessful. I was unsuccessful. I've worked in the farming sector and as a farm advisor and community development over the last 22 years. And one of the things that I would have seen was the lack of services and the lack of signposting through the various organisations. And it was one of the reasons I actually wanted to stand here, was to help keep people on the ground to source information and services and to help them in terms of local services what's available to them and how to maybe increase those services locally.
All right, thank you very much indeed. We'll hear from loads more from Rebecca and Garvin over the course of the morning. Tony McDaid, standing, of course, for Sinn Féin.
Morning, Greg.
Good morning, Tony.
My name is Tony McDaid. I'm one of 3 Sinn Féin candidates contesting the local elections in Lifford, Stranorlar, LEA. I'm one of 18 candidates, Sinn Féin candidates across the county seeking election on June the 7th. I'm a Strabane man originally, but I've been living in Lifford for over 50 years. Over those 50 years I've been a Republican activist. I've worked in Lifford Clonley Resource Centre, a community development project, for 4 years. I moved on then to work as project coordinator in Rafo Family Resource Centre for almost 20 years. So I've had over 40 years experience in community development and early intervention and prevention and family support. I was previously elected to Donegal County Council in 2004 to represent the people of the Letterkenny electoral area. And I'm standing this time because, like many others, I want to see change, and I believe only Sinn Féin can deliver that change. The change starts on the 7th of June with the local and European elections. I'm asking people to vote for me because we need strong Sinn Féin representation in council, working closely with deputies Pierce Doherty and Paddy McLaughlin in the Dáil. We need to deliver the change that is so badly needed. We're the party with a plan to fix the housing crisis and deliver 100% redress for those affected by the defective concrete blocks, and to provide effective healthcare services and to invest in local communities.
OK, we'll get through all that, of course. Councillor Frank McBrearty, a sitting councillor, of course, independent. Why are you standing? Why should people vote for you?
Well, first of all, good morning, Greg, and good morning to your listeners. I've been an independent councillor now for 11 years out of the 15 on Donegal County Council, and I have been a full-time public representative for those 15 years. I actually gave up the family business to go full-time. But why should people vote for me? Because I am the only frank and honest independent voice on Donegal County Council that will hold the council executive to account. And I'm asking people to vote for me, number one, on June 7th, to ensure that independent voice is still in Lifford. And I'm asking the many people that have helped over the last 15 years in particular, to come out and vote for me, number one, because I need your number one vote to ensure that I will be re-elected and that I will be able to still continue to hold the council executive and power sharing agreement in Donegal County Council that does not hold that council executive to account. And that's what I stand for. I stand for the rights of the people of the Lifford Stranorlar Municipal District, which is known as East Donegal, or by some as the Finn Valley, or by others as the Lagan Valley.
OK, thank you very much for that, Frank. Charles Ward, standing for the 100% Redress Party. Good morning, Charles. Why should people vote for you?
Hi there, my name's Charles Ward. Good morning, all the listeners and viewers. Why should people vote for me? Well, I'll just give you a brief outline of who I am. My name's Charles Ward. I'm from Armore Island, County Donegal. I was raised in Armore till I was 9. My father's a tunnel tiger, killed in 1986. I was away then for nearly 11 years, moved back. I'm married to Angela Ward, who's also from Armore, and she is the deputy head, assistant deputy of Finn Valley College. And I am affected by defective concrete, and we have a home that we built in 2003. It's ruined. We have 4 kids, and we are not getting any help from anybody. There's a scheme in place that's a scam, and we've had enough. And at local level, there's nothing. So I was a former member of MAG. I was in there for a year. I left because I believed that the 100% Redress Party are the party that people need to give the number one vote to. I think that we need representation in Lifford, and we need to get rid of what I consider a boys' club down there.
Right, okay, well, we'll tease that out. Obviously, Defective Concrete's going to come up. You left MAG. Does MAG not support the 100% Redress Party? Just to explain,
I'll explain.
Briefly, if you don't mind.
MAG is apolitical, okay? So, apolitical, they have no affiliation to any party. So, my wife is the PRO of MAG.
Okay.
She's still in there, Angela.
Understood.
You'll see her videos, and that's why, that's the
I get it. No, it's just, it was not a gotcha or anything, it was just curious. You know, one of the biggest areas, of course, of the area we're talking about is Ballybofey, Stranorlar. And a lot of people are wondering, you know, what's going to be done to get further investment into it, development into it, to sort of reduce the vacancy and derelict levels in this. This is something I think you've earmarked, if I'm not mistaken, Rebecca, as something you're very interested in. Do you believe that up until now those in this area haven't done enough for Ballybofey, Stranorlar?
Well, when you take into consideration the bypass for Ballybofey, the most important thing that we have to think about is the business people and how we're going to work the infrastructure around that. There's a car park there beside McElhinney's that, and it's my belief that within the council that they want to change that for a seating area outside there. And I think that would take away from the business people. We know how important it is for parking beside your business for every age group, from the young and women with the mothers with young families and children, to the elderly needing to go into the likes of Cost Cutter for the post office, and all of those range of businesses that's there. They need people to get quick access to the business. Some of it will be maybe only 10 minutes in the door and they're out again, and others maybe that wee bit longer. But I think it's very, very important that we keep the parking spaces there, and I'm sure that there will be other alternatives. So I would like to be able to work with the business people there and being able to put their point across and trying to liaise with them to make sure that we get a fit for purpose works done in Ballybofey.
Well, Frank McBrearty, do you think up until now maybe the councillors elected to represent this area haven't been doing enough to sort of address the concerns of the people in that area?
Oh, without a doubt. First of all, the power sharing agreement restricts us from asking the questions that we are elected to ask, because they're all in there blowing kisses at each other and clapping each other in the back to protect their positions, protect their mayors, to protect their deputy chairs, protect their chairs, etc. And it's all about protecting the executive, which we should be holding to account on a daily basis in Donegal County Council. But meetings are not the place where you actually do the work. Where I do the work is in my office on a daily basis, which I have based at my home, because I can't afford to have an office in Rafo full time, because I don't have the same salary as a Dáil deputy. But the work is done on the ground outside the meetings. The meetings have become just a publicity area for politicians passing motions that have no legal standing in law. And I think you know that and understand that by interviewing people about motions, that the motions that are passed in Donegal County Council, they're a complete waste of time.
Yeah, but just in relation to the sort of the basics, you know, and whether the work is done in someone's own office or done behind the scenes, whatever, like even something like the junction there at Trusk Road in Ballybofey near Super Value. I mean, it's an absolute disgrace, you know, and people would say, well, you know, people come and knocking on my doors in Ballybofey, Stranorlar and other areas looking for their support. And okay, some issues are beyond local politics, but if we can't get local councillors fixing local roads, what's the point?
Well, first of all, I have to disagree with you on that point, because I can take you around the constituency and I can show you what I've done. So if you want to come out now, well, after the show, I'll take you around. I'll take you around to the Green Pass, the St Eunice National School in the Glen and Rafo, St Johnston, areas in Ballybofey and Stranorlar. So you're incorrect about the fact that councillors are not doing their job, because I certainly am doing my job on a daily basis. When people come to me right up to 12 and 1 o'clock at night with really serious issues.
Okay, what do you think, Charles? Is enough being done to sort of, look after the people of this area by those elected? Would you promise to do anything if you took a seat? I mean, I presume you're not a single issue candidate.
Not a single issue candidate, no. I'm in the area, I'm active in the area, and like Ballybofey and Stranorlar, you just look at it, you go through Stranorlar and apart from Andy's and all the other shops up the top of the road there's nothing that actually happening in it, because there's no life in it anymore, Everybody like across the road. There's the shop that Kieran's used to have. It's affected by defective concrete, and that used to be a hub for people to come. They could get coffees, they could get teas. Nothing there anymore. But you go into Ballybofey itself, and across there we've got the Butt Hall sitting there empty. Needing to be done up. It should be done up. And they're on about the car park across there. And why would you move a car park out from a place where people are making money?
I think the idea is, and it's not necessarily for me to make the argument, is that this is, a multi-million euro redevelopment with alternative parking that will attract, huge footfall into the area where those businesses actually are. Cars don't buy things, people do, I think, is the sort of...
Yeah, but... people need to drive cars to get in to go and buy things.
Yes, go ahead. 1 second. Just Rebecca first, then you, Frank. And I want to bring our other two guests in as well. Rebecca, a brief one on this.
There maybe wouldn't be as much of an issue if we had better weather in Ireland, but unless there's going to be a canopy or an umbrella,
there actually is,
then that's,
Okay.
But at the end of the day, to sit out in our weather, I don't think people will be too happy for that.
All right, briefly, Frank, before we bring Tony.
First of all, you've brought up an issue about Ballybofey and Stranorlar, and it's very funny that the Stranorlar councillors that are elected,
listen,
elected are not sitting in here in the studio today. I'm the only sitting councillor in this studio.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the public will be asking the question, why are the four other sitting councillors not in here in the studio answering the questions why they're allowing Letterkenny MD.
Do you not think
Letterkenny MD, don't interrupt me when I'm speaking, please.
Frank,
I won't interrupt
Frank,
you.
I don't want this to be about knocking heads, but we have to have respect for the four other people here as well.
Here. First of all, you interrupted me, right? I'm making a point.
Yes.
Our area has been swallowed up by Inishowen and by Letterkenny MDs because the politicians in our area who are in political parties do what their power sharing agreement tells them what to do because Letterkenny has to get everything and so does Inishowen.
Okay,
and if you look at the funding going into Letterkenny and look at the funding that's going into Inishowen and you compare it to the funding coming into our area, it's chalk and cheese.
Yeah. Okay, Tony McDaid. Listen, if I only ask questions about people's own backyards, this would be very specific, right? And I presume the people believe that if they vote for a councillor in this area that they're not only looking after their own backyard. So I do think going across the electoral area there's justification for that because everyone's looking for votes from right across the area, but we don't have to be specific to Ballybofey Stranorlar. It is talking necessarily about the roads, about the simple things that they believe people are texting in saying the council should be working on, and they say, whether it's right or not, that they believe the council should be doing more. Tony?
That's a fair question, it's a fair point. I mean, I can understand people's frustrations. One of the issues for me in Ballybofey and Stranorlar is traffic management. I think that's a big difficulty. Hopefully with the 1010 project, when it comes on stream, it might alleviate that. I've always felt Ballybofey Stranorlar was a good shopping town. We use it fairly regularly. So I certainly have had no complaints on the doorstep about Ballybofey and Stranorlar. Maybe Councillor Gerry Doherty, my colleague, hopefully, and after the 7th of June again, he may have those issues, but certainly on the doorstep I hadn't heard it mentioned.
Right, and we'll get on to...
Centre of Excellence for Sport in the county.
Yes, fantastic. Garvin Connolly?
Greg, I mean, one of the issues that has been addressed by a few of the candidates here was the whole access. I mean, I would have come across a number of business people that have brought it to my attention in the town and were not happy with this new piece of walk out in front of their shops in the main forecourt here in terms of access. I mean, people need to be able to get to their shop very quick in terms of, I mean, I talked about the number of people coming onto the town here and, the local access. I know there has been a number of vacant buildings, but you would have seen, for you have enough this auction over the last number of months, there was a number of vacant buildings sold there. to boost the town, you have a base centre in times of COVID. You know, you have a number of hubs there, and it's one of the things that needs to be addressed in terms of to highlight it more, to draw people in. I mean, there's a centre there at the base. It has internet access, and there's a number of hubs that's available. I mean, there's 2 large schools in Balmafey with a number of children, and which come into the town each day at dinner time. I mean, there was a buildings there with cairns that was lost here in the town as well now with the migrant issue and all. I mean, all those, there's scope in the town for major development. A lot more shops, etc., could be brought into town to keep people there.
All right, okay. Listen, we are going to be speaking about the big issue of defective concrete next, as many of you are texting in relation to that. We do have to take a short break, but stay right where you are. We'll be back more with our guests in just a couple of moments.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Be a winner and view the trophy collection at Brian McCormick Sports. Full colour awards, glass and crystal, perpetual cups and shields, sports awards, metal cups and medals. Whatever the occasion, click bmcsports.ie. Budget medals for sports days with personalised inserts to promote your club and school. Full engraving service available at Brian McCormick Sports, Main Street, Letterkenny.
sé an seachtú lád a bhí an bheitheh lá na bhótála. Ar an lá sin, iarfar ar bhóta a chahas na tábhacháin orpacha, sna tábhacháin áitiúla, agus, má tá tú chláirithe I limanach, I dábhacháin Mhéarda nua limaní. Tá ólas faoin na tábhacháin ar fada bheith ar siúil ar an seachtú lád a bhí an bheitheh ar electoralcommission.ie. sé de bhóta do rá. Nálig de riine eile láirtear de hon mar sin. Cá bhóta, agus bíle cloisteáil ar an seachtú lád a bhí an bheitheh. An Comisiún Tábhacháin. Comisiún Neamhspleách Tábhacháin na Héireann.
Style your garden for the summer with Homeland Letterkenny at our Garden Super Saturday this Saturday 25th. Meet the Homeland Garden Centre team and enjoy exclusive offers in store including Homeland Super Grow Rose and Shrub Food, only $19.99. Irish Grown Roses, buy 2 get 1 free. And there's 20% off all water features. For more, see homeland.ie.
Your specialty is quality tiles, bathroom suites and wooden floors. Who is the best range of tiles in Donegal?
Crawford Tiles.
The best wood flooring?
Crawford Tiles.
The best bathroom suites?
Crawford Tiles.
5-day bathroom refits?
Crawford Tiles.
And who's been tampering with my questions?
That'll be me.
Crawford Tiles, Castlefin. That'll be them. 07491 43942.
Business owners, government knows the cost pressures that you are under. The increased cost of business grant has provided a much-needed cash injection for thousands of businesses. But for those businesses that missed the deadline, registration has reopened until the 29th of May. If your rates are in arrears or you have any questions about your business's eligibility for the increased cost of business grant, pick up the phone to your local authority. Go to icob.ie now. It is quick and easy to register, and you may be eligible for a payment of up to €10,000, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Okay, you're very welcome back to our local election debates. We're in Lifford and Stranorlar now. I'll just go clockwise on this one from where I'm sitting. Charles Wood, 100% redress. Many areas of the county, all areas of the county affected by this, not least in the Ballabafey or Lifford Stranorlar area, should I say. What would you hope to achieve in council to progress the campaign?
Okay, so my way moving forward with this, because we have to move forward, I feel that the council and the councillors that are in have done nothing for the people that are affected. I have been affected with my home since 2010. I believe that there's a void in there, and that in the next few years, what I back, I know Frank doesn't back it, but what I back is the People's Document. And when that's coming in, we need a voice at the table. We need voices. That's why we're running 6 candidates. We need everybody to give us the first vote and to get us in, and to stop this boys' club and the backslapping and not allowing people to come and talk about their problems. Like we had a we had a thing down in Lifford there a few, maybe about over a year ago, where the councillors were all outside, okay? And we showed up, and there was maybe 10 guards, and there was only a few of us in it. But then when we started to get angry and confronted the councillors, they sent over Mr. McGarvey, who at the time must have been he was in his 80s, and fair play to him, he came over to address it. But then I just said to him, with all due respect, sir, these people over here, as in the boys' club, should have come over. Not one of them. And then we went in, and people are allowed to make statements in the council chamber, and that was the first time that it was taken seriously. Mm-hmm. After all the marches and everything we'd done, it was the fact that people got angry. You know,
Tony McDaid will probably argue, and we'll come to him, that, you know, Sinn Féin, through Paul McLaughlin, through Piers Doherty, the commitments from Marilyn McDonald, that it is that party that will be able to deliver 100% redress. That's the claim they're making. Do you question that? Do you believe that's not to be the case?
Yes. I'll tell you why I question it. Piers Doherty has said on record that he will fix everybody's homes and their sewer tanks, but that's it so far, and then they'll develop another scheme. That was said at the People's Document down in Buncrana, okay? So that's not 100% redress. So people need to say that. Sinn Féin need to stop saying it's 100% redress. Their candidates need to stop saying it's 100% redress, because there's only one party that's wanting 100% redress, and that's the 100% redress party.
All right, Charles, we'll come back to you, of course, and we'll hear now from Councillor Frank McBrearty Jr. You wouldn't be of the view that 100% redress party, Sinn Féin or any others, I'd imagine, are the route to delivering justice for those that are affected?
Well, no, see, what he called, I have never said that.
No, it's a question, Frank.
And the bottom line is that what he called, I'm not against Charles Ward or the 100% redress party or any campaigner. Mm-hmm. The strategy that has been used has failed. And it's good to hear now every day that this has been called defective concrete, because that's what it is. It's not mica. And the scientific evidence is sitting here in front of me. My father's foundations here for everybody to see. Foundations and blocks. Internal sulphate attack in the blocks, external and internal sulphate attack in the foundations is the cause of this disaster in Donegal. Full stop. Predominantly by pyrrhotite and other sulphates at the permitted level of 0.1%, above that. But I have to say this, I don't agree with Charles' interpretation that I am against the People's Document. I'm against the strategy that has been used. Now, myself, and this is not about me, this is about me and homeowners and other property owners that are affected by this. And I'm an affected property owner. I'm an affected business property owner. I'm affected family members, relations, cousins, friends, constituents. We're all affected by this. We're taking the judicial review that the political parties have refused to debate in this studio about, and if you're serious about educating the public, you'll bring in the experts from our side and bring in the government experts, and you'll put them round this round table and you'll get them to debate why they invented the mica myth, and let our experts contradict their mica myth,
now,
because mica is not the cause of the structural defects.
Pardon my ignorance. It seems to be now, and as I say, I could be misreading it. It seems to be...
Now, judicial review is a big word they're scared of.
I'm going to ask you about that. But it seems to be general consensus that it is defective concrete, not mica per se, that those that are affected by... They want their foundations changed, they want their rising walls changed.
No, it's not rising walls. Anybody's in the building game, it's called a subfloor block, 12-inch block.
I'm only just saying,
and
what
they need to stop calling it rising walls, because people are getting confused.
I get you. Yeah. So you're on.
Ask any good builder that I've worked with over the years.
Okay. So what do you want me to call it?
It's a subfloor block.
Subfloor block. I'll call it a subfloor block.
And then your cavity wall blocks.
Okay.
And your inside block is your load bearing.
So my point is that there seems to be, regardless of what it's called, a general consensus that the defective concrete is the foundations, the subfloor block.
There's the evidence.
I know that, but what I'm saying is
black and white.
That seems to be,
but circumstantial evidence cannot supersede forensic evidence.
My question I was going to ask is that seems to be everyone concedes that that's the case now. right? So what is, like, what are we missing that you're saying is there? Because everyone accepts now.
Page 22 of my position paper, it quotes Charlie Joe McGinley, what I said in the council meeting when we were presented with a MICA block by the then chairman of the MICA Action Group. We all believed it was MICA at that time.
I get you.
The big question mark and a public inquiry, that's what should be established. So why they created this as a MICA scandal when it's not? Because they wanted to reduce the cost of what it's going to cost to demolish everybody's homes, which an engineer can only recommend full demolition. And Charles will tell you that.
So Frank, just to be clear,
his results, my results, my father's results, my poor mother and father, 80 years of age, Jerome Hughes, your brother did a fantastic podcast. 20,000 people have viewed it in 2 days.
Very good. Now, just one final question on that, though. I mean, I think a lot of people will recognise that you were saying a lot of this stuff first, right? But are we not?
Yes, because I'm an expert proofreader. I read the documents that other councillors didn't read.
Okay, Tony McDaid, what's your view? You heard the criticism of not the criticism, but the scepticism, I think, or cynicism from Charles Ward that your party's not really actually. It's not accurate in campaigning to deliver 100% redress, that there are gaps there.
Well, I was at the meeting that in McConnell that Charles refers to, and I clearly heard Pierce Doherty say that when Sinn Féin's in government, they will ensure 100% redress for all principal primary residences. And he mentioned an end-to-end scheme with full remediation and accommodation costs provided by the housing agency. That's what I heard, not even from Pierce. And I don't agree with Charles about the Donegal County Councillors. I know Albert Doherty, for example, and Jack Murray, for example, have been very, very strong advocates for those who are affected by the concrete blocks. Frank mentioned the judicial review there. And I mean, a review could take up to 2 or 3 years.
That's not true.
And we'll come back to that in a second. Thanks.
For you to take a judicial review, I mean, Pierce Doherty and Paddy McLaughlin aren't significantly impacted upon to take a judicial review.
What does that mean? Sorry.
Their homes haven't got defective concrete blocks, so they can't take the judicial review. It has to be taken by somebody who is affected by it.
Correct.
As regards to the debate, Patrick and Pierce constantly take it to the chamber and the Dáil. That's where this is going to be fixed. And you know, fair play to them. I mean, I don't think anybody can disagree, but when they start in the Dáil, they're very good orators. They're very good speakers, and they're taking the message there, and that's what's going to be fixed. Those are the things that you know.
You were at that meeting, but and I think it is important that the public is clear on this. That Sinn Féin do not want they have not 100% endorsed the 100% the People's Document. Sorry, there are elements of it that they haven't endorsed. Well, it's just so it's clear, because people might think, oh well, Sinn Féin fully back the People's Document. They don't. They certainly, for private homeowners, there, but the document goes beyond that.
But what they said that evening was that the starting point is ensuring 100% redress for all principal primary residences and for those who have one additional home. That's the starting point. That was the starting point.
So, starting point. Right, we'll come back to that, because the couple of points I want to pick on just have to be fair to everyone.
I'm not going in, but I want to come back at some stage.
No, of course, I've already pointed that will happen. But I just want everyone to have a fair crack. Everyone has an equal right to speak and stand and get a seat, regardless of whether they're incumbent or a new candidate. Garvin Connolly, Fine Gael.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be very brief on the matter. For Frank and Charles here are experts in the field, actually. And one of the, I mean, my personal thing is, I mean, this 5 years ago, this was an issue. 5 years down the road, it's still not solved. I mean, our home was our castle here in Ireland, and this shouldn't. I mean, this is one of our. I mean, this is affecting most families the same as cancer is.
Did that make you think about, given the lack of action over the last 5 years between running then and running now, did that give you any cause for wobble running for Fine Gael, as Fine Gael is the government in power at the moment?
Well, at the moment, I mean, I have my own mindset. I mean, if certain issues I believe, and the certain issues I don't.
Yeah, but you can't. It's not fair, is it, to have the posters, the party machine behind you, and then all of a sudden say, well,
no,
say on some issues,
100% redress team needs to be sorted out. Now, and not in 5 years' time again when there's a next election. It needs to be sorted out now over the next number of months and years. I mean, there's people's mental health and well-being's at stake here, and it needs to be sorted out. I mean, all stops should be pulled out. I mean, if this was in K with the hay rails, it would have been sorted out now.
All right, Rebecca McDaid of AONTU, I suppose your party's position, your position on this.
Yes, we support the 100% redress, 100%. The people of Donegal, regardless of where you are, at the end of the day, their mental health has been affected by all of this. And we bring it down to the mismanagement, really, of going into the quarries and these blocks and the concrete blocks has not been, obviously they have not been tested. So we have to go right through to people who failed in their positions. Again, the men will have more information than what I do, but my point is, when you bring it back to the effect on the people, we cannot turn our back on the people any longer. This has got to be stopped. As with everything, people power is massive, and people power is what changes everything.
So with that in mind, why not then vote for 100% redress and not AONTU?
Well, because we support that.
Yeah.
In 100% redress, they are forced. They're fixed on that particular issue. That is something that's very strong in their heart. They will, of course, be involved in every other issue to do with the county. But they are steadfast and they are particular in their cause. So we support them 100% for that.
Right. Frank McBrearty, judicial review take too long, 2 or 3 years, and it can only be taken by homeowners.
That is incorrect. I've been involved in 3 judicial reviews against Garda Síochána, and Enda Craig has been involved in a very high-profile judicial review in 2013 concerning the Moville sewage treatment scheme that was tried to be ram-raided down people's throat in Moville by Donegal County Council, and the EU Commission stepped in when Enda lost that judicial review. So that is incorrect, and Tony would need to look up his legal issues, because it was alright for Thomas Pringle and Pierce Doherty to take a judicial review in the public interest in 2000 for the 2010 by-election, and the monetary fund issue that Thomas Pringle took on behalf of the public interest. Now, that is completely inaccurate. A judicial review will force the Irish government to get rid of the problem we have, and the problem we have is the defective concrete block standard invented by Donegal County Council and consultant engineers representing the Make Action Group, who put together a defective concrete block standard for reactive pyrite in County Mayo and Mica in Donegal. We are restricted to using that Irish standard to test our homes for an incorrect reason that's not causing the structural defects in our homes. And the judicial review will force the public inquiry that we need. It will force the Irish government to abolish what they should be doing. You have to understand this now. Hold on, let me finish this point. The National Standards Authority of Ireland, the National Standards Authority of Ireland adopt the EU Directive EN 771-3. That's the standard for concrete blocks in Ireland. Why is our homes not getting tested under that standard? And Donegal County Council are using that standard to test all new properties that they're building in Donegal today.
Just a quick question, because the science we're being told...
That is incorrect about a judicial review. I've been involved in 3 very high-profile judicial reviews.
Frank, you just said that. Just so I'm clear...
there are legislators, they can take a case... No, there are legislators, they can take a case... I make this very important point.
Question, Frank.
Are they our legislators?
I don't know. I'm not answering questions. I wanted to ask questions like
Pierce
everyone else.
Our legislator.
You won't allow me to ask you a question. So that is fine. That is absolutely fine. If you don't want to answer, if you don't want to put me to ask you a question, I won't. That's fine. No, because every time I do, you're speaking over me.
There are legislators.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, that is fine. If you don't want to engage with me, that is fine. That is fine, Frank. It doesn't matter. I want to give everyone a fair opportunity. If you don't want to engage with my questions, that is fine. That's fine. That's up to you.
Don't want to talk about a judicial review properly.
You've just talked about a judicial review for 4 minutes.
On the 31st of May, Friday night.
Okay.
And you'll get to know all
Right, so this is just about plugging that. It's not about a debate about these issues then. So, well, I respect the views of everyone around this table, and I want to hear them. I want to hear them. Charles Ward, 100% redress. You were, when I suggested that the People's Document didn't get the full backing of Sinn Féin, I think at that point you wanted to come in, and I want to give you an opportunity, if you wish. It's not to pile on Sinn Féin.
So I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example, okay? So let's say now... Frank has a semi-detached house that Frank bought for a pension, okay? And I'm a tenant in there, and Frank's got his own house, okay? So Frank's house is defective. That could get fixed. But see the house that I'm in, that Frank has, that can't be fixed. This is what I'm saying. This is, if it was 100%, everybody's house, everybody's garage, everything gets fixed. You know, you've got to call this out. And it's up and in and shown. They're actually going around canvassing for Sinn Féin, saying that it's 100% redress when it's not. And you've got to call it out the way it is. Got to be truthful.
Okay, and to be fair, Tony, because there's two people calling you out, you're confident, and with your conversations, you're saying that this is a starting point with a view to broadening the scheme. But why not have it in the manifesto for the last election? Why not have? Why not tease it out more now? Now's the time. You know, because we talk about the amount of stress that people have through this. Well, now would be a time for a party to say, don't worry, because if we come into power, we're also going to do that second property, or if someone dies in the process, we have a plan for that, so that whoever inherits that property can continue on in the scheme. Do you know what I mean? Why is that information absent, do you think? And you're not here to speak for everyone in the party, but you are a rep standing for the party.
Oh, I think so. I only can reiterate what Peter Sturdy committed to that night. That was Sinn Féin and government will ensure 100% redress for all principal primary residents. Now, my understanding of the 100% redress may be a wee bit different from Charles. There are people out there who can't get on the scheme because they haven't got the finances. This is only a grant scheme. It's not full 100% redress. That's my understanding of what the 100% redress is to do with the finance and the funding. I've been in quite a few number of houses during the canvass, and people have said this scheme, like the last scheme, isn't any good to me. I haven't got 10, 20,000 euro to make up the balance. When I talk about 100% redress, that's what we're talking about.
Did you want to come in there, Rebecca?
I just wanted to give two examples of what I have been hearing on the doors, and I have a lady who actually sent me this message. She said that she's in a semi-detached house, and she had asked if herself and her neighbour could pay the 3,500 each, because it's technically the same house to them, because it's one building. And they were told no, and to be able to get on the scheme, that it had to be two separate tests, so that was a cost of 7,000 each. So the problem is, in that particular situation, one house has been deemed that it has to be demolished, and the other side was told that it was just an outer leaf. That the common sense has gone completely out the window.
Are those private properties?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But that common sense has gone completely out the window. That one block will be built with the same blocks. There's no way that anybody could argue any different there. And it's this type of unsensible situation. The other example that I have is of a family who needed to rent. Were told that the contractor was coming in to do the work. They secured a house, which is extremely hard to do because there's no houses available. Yeah. And they needed a 4-bedroom house because of the size of the family. That family secured the house and paid the rent for 3 solid months. And the contractor came back and told them that they weren't going to be able to start the house. They had to give up that house after paying 3 months' rent. That is totally and completely unacceptable.
Yeah. Is that, to some extent, are you saying then that the allocation for rent should go beyond 15,000? Because I suppose what the contractor chooses to do is a little bit outside the remit of...
Regardless of the money, Greg...
How do you resolve that?
Well, regardless of the money... The situation that the people are in, they're told one thing: we're coming in to do your house on a certain date, you need to secure somewhere to rent. And it's extremely hard to get somewhere to rent. And then when they do, like this person has been in the situation, it didn't go ahead, so they paid for 3 months' rent, and they didn't get the use of the house and had to give the house up because they can't afford to pay rent, while they're not moved out of their own home, and their own home, they don't even know when it's going to be started. So naturally, when they have a big family, they want to stay in their own home as long as possible until they have absolutely no other option but to go when the contractors are going to come in.
OK, this is obviously a very significant subject, and people have lots to say. We're going to get through other things as well. A lot of people asking about other issues, not least CDNT employment levels in the east of the county, and much more besides. But I know, Charles, amongst others, wanted to come back in on that, but we do have to take a very short break. The weather, then a break for the news, and then we're clear pretty much for an hour to go through this issue a little bit further, and of course to move on to some other issues important to people in the Lifford Stranorlar area. Back in just a moment.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Have you visited the window blind display at Foy & Company Letterkenny? Our blinds are crafted with premium materials, ensuring durability and functionality. Working with both commercial and residential customers, our expert team provides personalised consultations and installation, guaranteeing a seamless experience from start to finish. Visit our showroom or schedule a free in-home consultation today. Let us help you find the perfect window blind solution at Foy & Company, Port Road, Letterkenny.
We're driving the Citroën C4X on Dublin's most speed-bumped road, as voted by an online poll, to test Citroën's progressive hydraulic cushion suspension. The music is coming from a vinyl record playing on a record player set up in the back seat. Here comes a speed bump. Let's see if this record skips. Perfect! Went off without a scratch.
Book a test glide in a Citroën today. Visit citroen.ie.
Are you building, rebuilding or renovating? What heat pumps or solar panels would suit your build? Come along and speak to the experts, Efficient Renewables on heat pumps and solar panels. Get advice on installation and grants available. Visit the Efficient Renewables showroom in Newton Cunningham and see these products in operation for yourself.
Newly crowned Ulster champions Donegal begin their All-Ireland Championship campaign this Saturday evening. 2 weeks on from their provincial success, Jim McGuinness' side welcome neighbours Tyrone to McCool Park. Throw-in is at 7:15 and there'll be full match commentary here on Highland with Oisín Kelly, Martin McHugh and Brendan Devaney. Donegal action in this year's Senior Football Championship is with Highland Motors in Letterkenny. Coming soon, the new Renault Scenic E-Tech Electric with a range of up to 625 kilometres and voted European Car of the Year 2024.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhenny's. Support a local Donegal business with McElhenny's. From fashion to home essentials, find everything you need for any occasion. Shop McElhenny's Ballybuffet for quality you can trust.
OK, so
the
it's
9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
If you're aged 80 or over or have a weak immune system, it's time to get your COVID-19 Spring Booster vaccine. Your Spring Booster will top up your immunity against COVID-19 and help protect you from serious illness for the months ahead. It's recommended you get your booster before the end of May. Talk to a participating GP or pharmacist today or call our HSC Live team on 1800 700 700. Visit hsc.ie for more information. From the HSC.
If you know the beauty and skincare product that suits you best, you'll find them at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. From moisturisers, cleansers and toners to day creams and night creams, McGee's have the top brands you know and love, like Lancôme, Clarins and La Roche-Posay. Also Elizabeth Arden, Vichy, Nukes and many more. All at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie, where the best costs less.
You might be surprised by the working family payment. For many working parents, covering the everyday costs of family life can be a stretch. But there's some good news. The working family payment is money the government pays to working parents, depending on their level of income and how many children they have. To find out if you qualify, visit gov.ie/WFP. A Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
All you need to make your house a home at Patterson's The Hall, Lifford. From garden furniture to kitchens, sofas and dining sets, all under one roof. Need a new mattress? Why not visit our sleep centre on the first floor? With a large range of quality beds and mattresses in stock and ready for collection or delivery. Relax in our coffee shop serving hot lunches daily. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, The Hall, Lifford.
Find the sunshine at McElhenny's and Ballybuffet. Shop in store and discover thousands of discounted lines with at least 20% off. Purchase any eligible discounted product with the sunshine on it to be in with a chance of winning a holiday worth €1,500 in collaboration with Atlantic Travel Letterkenny. Don't miss out. Visit us in store at McElhenny's Ballybuffet and find your sunshine.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, we have another hour on the way with our election candidates, Tony McDaid, Charles Ward, Frank McBrearty Jr., Rebecca McDaid and Garvin Connolly. Keep your questions coming in to us on 086 60 25,000. But at 11 o'clock, let's get a news update, and it's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. Homes and businesses in Donegal and West Dublin have been searched as part of a major investigation into an international drug trafficking gang. 23 raids were carried out yesterday involving 70 Gardaí. It resulted in the seizure of a high-end car and €73,000 in a bank account being frozen. The operation was carried out as part of an ongoing proceeds of crime investigation targeting assets including real estate. Education Minister Norma Foley is in Donegal today for a series of engagements in Letterkenny and in Inishowen. She confirmed this morning that a new extension is getting the go-ahead at St Francis National School in Barnesmore. She's opening the Errigal College new modular extension. She also visited Scoil Isagon in Buncrana. That's the biggest national school in the county where a major project is pending there. Ishgairin says a reservoir interruption may cause supply disruptions during the day to Redcastle and surrounding areas. Works are scheduled to take place until 5 o'clock this evening. It could take a further 4 hours for systems to return to normal there. A panel of national and international speakers is meeting in Kildare today to debate how to meet the growing needs of Ireland's ageing population. Alone, the organisation that supports older people, is holding its Community Impact Network annual conference at St Patrick's College in Maynooth. It comes just days after the body of a woman in her 60s was discovered at a house in Cork. It had been lying there for some time. That's prompted calls for a safety net to support older people who are living on their own. And the Lochs Agency is marking Invasive Species Week by raising awareness of the threat posed by invasive species in the Foyle and Carlingford catchments. The agency says there are species in the water and on land which can have significant impacts on local ecosystems. We have a comprehensive report and pictures on our website, highlandradio.com. Indeed, check all of today's news on the website, and we're back with news headlines again at 12 midday.
Okay, Donald, thank you very much.
Disney Plus, what's your emergency?
I need to know when Grey's is coming back. Please, help!
No need to panic. A new season of Grey's Anatomy is now streaming on Disney Plus.
Wait, it's already back?
Correct. But side effects may include elevated heart rate, excessive crying, and please be aware that Meredith Grey will be returning.
Wait, what?
Hello? Are you there?
New episodes of Grey's Anatomy, now streaming on Disney Plus. 18 plus subscription required. T's and C's apply.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
Okay, we've a lot of issues to get through that affect the Lifford Stranorlar electoral area. Thank you so much for all of your contacts, but just didn't want to rush people on a very important issue, of course. That is the one of defective concrete. And just before we were heading there towards the break for news, Charles Ward, running for 100% redress, indicated he wanted to come back in there. Charles. Sorry, was it you, Frank?
No, Charles wanted to come back first. But
okay, yeah, go ahead, Charles.
Okay. So, I'll explain to you now what Rebecca was saying about, the semi-detached houses. I've been in a number of estates where they're affected, okay? And it's detached, semi-detached, okay? So, what you have is, this is how disjointed this whole process is. So, there's a cul-de-sac in Stranorlar. And in that cul-de-sac, every single house is affected. And you go to the first one at the top is for demolition. This one's waiting. This one's for remediation. All the way down, demolition. Ones at the bottom can't get on it. Next door are on it. These houses now...
Some can't afford it too, I presume.
Most of them can't afford it.
Yeah.
But I'll come back to that in a second. But what happens here is these people's houses will have to be separated. You know? It's a semi-detached house. It has to be detached and rebuilt. And they say, on existing foundations. Anybody doing remediation needs to be aware of this. It's not going to work. When you remediate your house outer leaf, you're given a 40-year guarantee, right? Okay, that house currently isn't insurable or mortgageable, and people need to be made aware of this. So when they're getting in, it's a trap.
Do you discourage people from going on this scheme?
Me personally, I think people should wait.
Okay. Frank, you wanted to come back in there? Frank McBrearty JR?
I wanted to come back on an issue here that was a statement was made here that this will be resolved in the Dáil, this scandal. This scandal will not be resolved in the Dáil. There's only one thing the Dáil can do in this scandal is establish a public inquiry, which should have been established long before now. But the only place that this is going to be resolved is in the courts. Now, there's plenty of evidence of many other scandals that has happened where the courts have resolved those issues. And I don't have to be repetitive about the Morris Tribunal, which I spent 8 years of my life in, and what it exposed, and what was also exposed in court cases that ran side by side with the Morris Tribunal. But we need a public inquiry, but the judicial review is the most important thing we're doing as homeowners. And the 16 homeowners that I'm involved with will explain that on the 31st of May in the Volt House in Rafo when we have the first public information evening about what we're doing with that judicial review. Mm-hmm. But I just want to go back, and this is the most important issue in my opinion. This scandal hasn't even started. This is the Rafo Community Playgroup forensic test results by K Design and Petrolab in the UK. Petrolab have tested over 2,000 properties in this county that have all identified with the mineral pyrrhotite and other sulfites. And the fact is that Petrolab is the scientific experts that have exposed this scandal for what it is today, not anybody else. It's Petrolab who have tested for 4.5 years properties that have been sold, properties that are entering the scheme. 800 of those 2,000 reports are in the 90-10 scheme, which have now been pushed over to the enhanced scheme, which doesn't allow testing until the housing agency states that what testing you get after the building condition assessment. So I have to reiterate the fact that the Dáil won't resolve this. And what I would really like to know is why the senior politicians in this county are actually scared to debate with me and others on a judicial review. 2-3 years. A judicial review will take weeks once the High Court gives leave to deal with that judicial review.
Tony McDaid, just to give you an opportunity to come back on that, before we move on, I'll give everyone who wants in an opportunity. But Tony, two things. Judicial review dismissed that it would take 2 or 3 years, dismissed that you have to be personally affected by it, and also to questioned whether or not the Dáil is actually the place that will be the resolution to this crisis.
I mean, the judicial review, I don't agree. I mean, I don't agree with Frank. I still believe it's not the right approach. Okay. And good luck to anybody who's taking it on. As regards Pearce and politics, as I say, the legislation states that you have to demonstrate that you are significantly affected by the issue. They aren't. And as far as I'm aware, neither are any Sinn Féin councillors.
Okay, well listen, at the end of the day, that's your position. Frank has a different position, and we're not going to resolve that here.
I just wish to clarify something, and the clarification is, they're our legislators. They represent us, and they can take whatever judicial reviews they want against legislation.
Then, presumably.
Yes, and they've done it in the past.
Adjunct. Okay, I get you. Do you want a last word on this, Garvin Connolly of Fine Gael?
No, I think, as I said before, this has to be addressed, 100% redress, and it has gone on too long. There's people's mental health and well-being, their homes or castle, and it has to be something drastically done about it. And I agree with Frank and Sayers on the hill.
Rebecca?
I can only reiterate the same
okay,
thing.
well, there's no need to. We'll move on to other things. I know that's okay. I just want everyone to get a fair crack at this.
Sorry, could I just say something
briefly, Charles?
Yeah, briefly. I'll say the People's Document has a judicial review in it, so that's part of it too. You know, that's why that's what I'm supporting. You know, I understand everybody's points. That's
exactly. And listen, every people are going to have difference of opinion, and they're going to believe that they are correct in it.
IS 465 is the elephant in the room.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Just to go around the table, because a couple of people want me to ask and to get it on the record. Rebecca, are you calling, or would you be in favour of complete demolition of properties?
I think there's no other way around it, Greg.
Okay, Garvin, complete demolition.
Yeah, complete demolition. I think Frank here handed it in. Their blocks takes on the bears.
Subfloor blocks
and the foundations.
Foundations, all gone.
Absolutely.
Right. Tony McDaid, you would agree with that, Frank? You would agree with that?
Testing has to be compulsory. Yeah. Scientific evidence cannot be superseded by circumstantial evidence. If your property tests positive for pyrrhotite and other sulfates, it's full demolition, including foundations. Yeah. And if you don't test the foundations, if you're entering the scheme, you must take it out.
Charles Ward, obviously, I mean,
I 100% agree with all that there. Okay. Everybody is correct.
Right, listen, I'm not saying...
Tell the public, stop calling it Mica.
Yeah, but the one thing...
concrete.
The one thing I would say about that is that I think... people call every vacuum cleaner a Hoover.
No, defective concrete.
I know that, but I don't think people are...
You don't blame something that's not causing it.
I know, but the thing is that the way I look at it is if I hear people at a public meeting talking about the Mica scandal,
because they're talking about it. I know,
but it's just become a generic term for the crisis.
No, it's not generic.
I know,
they've been brainwashed. We were advised, including myself, advised that Mica was causing the structural defects.
Charles, do you get the point I'm making in relation to that?
I do.
It's not obviously scientifically accurate. Yeah. It's just become a catch-all.
It's the brand, and
it's not a brand.
No,
it's a false brand.
I know, I understand that. But if we had,
it's been promoted by Donegal County Council.
But I prefer RTE to say Mica instead of defective concrete than not say anything at all.
No,
that would just be my
joke.
position.
The prime time videos, the prime time programs were an absolute disgrace.
Okay. A lot of people across the electoral area are concerned about, and these are people affected by this crisis, those looking to come home, those who want to live in the area, the lack of available accommodation. Rebecca, is this coming up for you on the doorstep, that people feel there aren't proper, not just defective concrete right across the board? We'll broaden it out a little bit. Rebecca McDaid of AONTU.
Is everywhere, Greg?
Yeah, so talk to me. What do you think is the problem? What do you think can be done? Obviously, some of this outside the control of the council, but listen, these are the issues people will be voting on, even if we have to accept that maybe a councillor can't change it.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, you're looking at... There's loads of empty property around, and we need to try and get those fixed and ready and habitable for people. You can't force anybody to do anything with their property, but there certainly should be certain enhancements there. You know, something there to encourage them. Because a lot of people's position is, with the way things are going now and the cost of everything, a lot of them don't have the money to actually do up their house. So they don't have, for any house that's been left sitting for a while, people will struggle to have the money to actually fix them up and have them habitable. So we need to try and do something around that. The other thing is, and I brought it up last night actually at a meeting, is that Donegal is not yet included in the local authority affordable housing scheme. Now, you'd have to beg the question as to why that would be the case. Mm-hmm. And I would like to try and get that investigated a little bit more.
Well, I'll bring you back in on this one. Garvin, obviously, I presume this is coming up to you as well. Like, call just as we speak. Can you ask who's getting the news houses that are nearly finished on Trusk Road, Ballyboffaith? People are... I'm not expecting anyone to have a specific answer to that, but the point is people now, even when houses become available, they wonder if they're going to be used to service the waiting lists.
Yeah, local public. I mean, social housing was one of the things that was... I actually live in a council estate. It was built in 1957. It was built for £1,100. You have St Union's Terrace in Lifford. You have a number of terraces at Crawford Heights. You have a number of terraces throughout the county. Back in the 50s and the 60s, when Ireland was classified as a poor country, I mean, the whole, in terms of the Celtic Tiger year, the whole social housing kind of has gone. disappeared. And one of the things now there's a number of projects taking place and land purchased in Donegal by the council. Frank would probably being assistant councillor would be able to go into it in more detail. It's one of the things that will have to be addressed in terms of affordable social housing and have things available. I work in the farming sector, and there's a lot of elderly farmers that passes away, etc., and have incentives so those houses will be bought by the council and maybe done a bit of work to, or have some sort of grant, so that people in the local area can be brought back again here.
There seems to be a consistent message coming from candidates from across Donegal that the solution to this issue, Tony McDaid, is obviously, more social housing, but bringing vacant and derelict properties back into use. Is that what you would see as the solutions?
Certainly. It's the number one issue that I'm facing on the doorsteps.
What are people saying to you?
Well, they're saying we can't afford to build, we can't afford to buy, we can't afford to rent. As simple as that. Now, Donegal needs more affordable housing. I think we all would agree to that. But and the government parties are failing that. Indeed, the government party's own commission on housing was released in the last few days as a damning report on the government themselves. Poor decision making, chaos, bad use of public money, including nearly 10 billion euros given the subsidies to landlords. That 10 billion euro would have built 40,000 houses for families and workers. We have record rents, record house prices, record homelessness. Well, what needs to be done is the housing crisis, it can be fixed by bringing down the cost of homes, bringing down rents.
How would you do that?
And increasing supply.
We'd love to do that. I would love to, rub a magic bottle and all of a sudden house prices come down, but people want to know how that's going to happen. Did we ever think we'd ever be in a situation that houses right across the county, rents for 12, 13, 1,400 euro? It's just... 600 euro not so long ago used to be expensive. Rebecca, did you want to come back in there? Yeah. And of course, everyone's going to get a word.
If you look at the price of houses in Letterkenny, like going back to say 2014, you could buy a house in say Ardonal area of Letterkenny here, and that could be maybe and needing refurbished for anywhere between 50 and 70,000 at that stage. But that same house will cost you minimum of 200,000 to maybe 220 today. That's what people are working on. And if you, like my own niece actually in Galway, wanted to build her own house, they had their own site and had no debt and was living at home. Both of them were living at home. And the bank made them take out a loan to prove that they could pay a debt. So they actually put this young couple into debt before ever they started their money for their home to pay a mortgage.
Unfortunately, I've done that with my own children because I think it's important to build up
I think that is absolutely scandalous that the bank should do that.
Indeed, and then people are being refused mortgages for €1,000, yet they're paying €2,000 in rent all of the time. And that's not counted, and I just don't understand why in terms of affordability. Frank McBrearty, two issues here: the lack of housing available, but also, the cost of rent. What are people on the doorsteps saying to you about this issue?
Well, first of all, this is an issue that I have a forensic knowledge of, and I deal with these type of issues daily. The housing section in Ireland is broken. Full stop. Price to build a house, and everybody knows I come from a building background before I ever went into politics. The cost for a contractor to build a property, and because of the cost of living crisis we're all suffering from today, has quadrupled the cost of building a home in Donegal, and every part of Ireland's the same. Now, to build a house in Donegal today, you can't actually sell that house for what it's costing to build it. So that's one problem that has to be resolved. And the government is the only people that can actually resolve that by bringing in affordable housing. Secondly, HAP, which is a substitute for people getting a council house, is broken. It should be scrapped because the threshold limit of what you get, the average rent now in Donegal for a 3-bedroom house is anything between €1,000 and €1,400. Now, I've heard people in Letterkenny say they're even paying €1,800 for a 3-bedroom house. Now, if you're a family of 4, you get just under €500 towards your rent under the HAP system. Now, when you become a HAP tenant, you become automatically registered on the housing list. But the problem is there is no housing to house people who are actually in HAP.
So when you say you
get
scrap HAP, what do you replace HAP with, though?
You replace it with a proper threshold where you give people the proper amount of money that is going to allow them to afford to rent the house.
Is that not just further lining the pockets of landlords, and then the rents increase because there's
for
more
example,
money available?
The house is costing €1,000, right? And you're a low-income family, and you're having to pay your HAP to Donegal County Council, say 500 is the figure. Well, that landlord is taking another 500 off you privately, which he doesn't have to pay tax
But just on relation to that, Frank, though, if we increase the amount of money available, and I'm not in any way for or against, I don't know, it's just a question.
But these people are paying the council. They're not. They're not. The people are not. The people are not. They're not getting this for free. But the people are not getting this money for free. They're paying the HAP payment to Donegal County Council.
Yeah, no, but just in terms of
then they have to pay another €500 to pay the landlord.
Right. Tony McDaid,
but I'm not finished on the housing aspect of
well,
this.
you're not finished, but we have to give everyone an opportunity
You're talking about council houses, right? We have 10 council houses ready to go and are full that have been lying dormant now for a year and a half because the contractor went bust. Now that shouldn't happen in a council organised job. There should have been a criminal investigation.
We'll get back to that in a second. I want to talk about housing availability and affordability, and we can certainly get into individual cases.
I mean, there's a policy that was passed in January 2023, which you know about in Donegal County Council, that is now restricting people buying their homes under the tenants purchase scheme.
Yeah, for sure, and we've covered that extensively. What do you think is the cause of the rental housing crisis, Charles Ward? Because, as I say, of course, like there's many people that need housing, not least those who have to move out of their house.
Yeah, so it's affordability, okay? It's the planning, everything needs to be scrapped. They need a total review in Ireland about how they build housing, they have to take into consideration now, there's a thing called modular homes. Norway, Sweden, all these countries that are on the North Atlantic coast do not have necessarily concrete buildings, but they're houses that are there hundreds of years that are built. We need to start looking outside the box. We need to start looking at availability, speed and price. But in this country there's a thing where there's a greed with contractors, with governments. You know, building a house should not cost more than it is the value of. It shouldn't be. And if that's the case, then the system is broken.
Does anyone have any concerns that sort of increasing payments to private landlords would just be effectively an excuse for landlords to push up the rents? Or would you all be in favour of increased payments to private landlords through HAP?
There was the restriction put on landlords putting up rent increases, but they done away with that.
Yes.
After COVID, thank God COVID's now gone, but is it really gone? But there needs to be out of the box thinking done by our legislators to legislate properly in Dáil Éireann to deal with this housing crisis that we're suffering from. And this is really all down to the cost of living crisis that we're all suffering from.
In your area, I'll start with you, Rebecca, and this is not trying to stir or anything, but is there concern amongst those that you're talking to that there is no solution for issues like this because maybe the powers that be are more focused on housing people moving to Ireland?
Well, that is certainly an issue if you're talking about the immigration. You know, Greg, it's
like what are people saying to you?
Well, there's a lot of frustration out there because they tell you what they see in front of them. They will have their own families who are needing housing and they're not getting it. And they do see other people getting accommodation, actually some of it fixed to the highest standard, air to water, that has been mentioned to me. And it's causing a deep unrest with the people. And it is something that there needs to be a lot more transparency on. And at the end of the day, if property can be fixed for people who are coming into our country who are not Irish citizens, well then we have got to provide that same service to our own people and our Irish citizens.
Is that coming up in your area, Tony McDaid of Sinn Féin?
No, it's not. the issue of immigration is coming up, certainly.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm talking about.
I think we need to understand that social housing is social housing is for people on the council housing list. There's scaremongering out there about council houses that are coming to completion. You mentioned the Trusk Road there earlier on. It's the same in Lifford. We've had another candidate who's standing outside these houses saying quite clearly that all these houses will be allocated to immigrants. That can't happen. That won't happen.
Why is that not then? If that is misinformation as you seem to be framing it, why is there no transparency then, or people being informed? Why are the communities sort of in the absence of knowing what's going to happen, allowing themselves or being whipped up and being fearful or angry? Why does the council not articulate this to people and ease concerns where needs be?
Well, I can't speak for the council, but I know when we've been canvassed on the doorstep.
Do you have an opinion?
When we canvassed on the doorstep, this is coming up. Particularly, there's one estate in Lifford there where there's an older population of people, and they've heard the story about the houses opposite them are going to be allocated to migrants. But we've reassured them that that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. We've told them on the doorstep, and we're repeatedly telling people on the doorstep that social housing is for people who are on the council housing list. Full stop.
Yes, but obviously then there are question marks over the ownership of properties. There are developments that have started and there was a verbal agreement with the developer that these would become social housing, and then they're not becoming social housing. So it gets very confusing, and that's why I think things need to be explained a little bit more to them. Is this coming up much for you, Garvin Connolly of Fine Gael?
Yeah, small bits, the terms of immigrants and actual housing, etc. Private landlords, we cannot stop private landlords what they actually do. In terms of who they rent their property to. One of the things is in terms of the social housing, we need more units built under, and as in terms of the council, they need to make it quite transparent. Like the Tusk development, I think, is going to that units will be coming locally to the people in the area and some elderly people, I believe, isn't it? So, in terms of transparency, the council needs to be more transparent where those specific social housing where they're going to be allocated.
Frank, what are the public saying to you, Frank McBrearty, in terms of, I don't know whether the population of the area, who's getting houses, who's getting accommodated? Is there any concern in your area?
Well, I can't agree with what Tony said. Immigration has become a real issue on the doorsteps. Especially people worried about undocumented men coming into communities at 12 o'clock at night. But I have to say this, refugees and economic migrants, which are needed, they have the same rights as Irish citizens. But the immigration laws, full stop, have to be actually overhauled and re-looked at and new legislation put in place. But I have to say this, building social housing has to be built in areas that have the infrastructure. And I'll give a good example. Rafo has 2 large secondary schools, 2 very good national schools and 2 play schools. Hopefully we'll be able to protect the play group in Rafo and get a new building for them. But the infrastructure is... social housing has to be built in areas that have the infrastructure where people can get to the shop, get their children to school, etc., etc. Now, I give a good example. There was a development in Rafo, had planning permission for 65 houses, and the council had the first opportunity to buy that development from NAMA when it went belly up. Now, it's just an empty site which now has to be reapplied for planning permission. But that originally had 65 houses planned on it. Now, why wouldn't you build 65 social houses, some of it affordable housing, some of it social housing? I have many young girls that single families that are crying out for housing. One issue that I think it needs to be seriously looked at in the council is the fact that they're not building enough 3 bedrooms. They're trying to push people into 2-bedroom houses. When they have more children, they then need a 3-bedroom, a 4-bedroom. These 2-bedroom houses, for the sake of an extra €10,000, build the 3-bedroom houses.
Okay.
Because you can't envisage a young family, a boy and a girl who is a child of maybe 3-4 years of age, who are in their mid-20s. they're going to have more children. To give them a 2-bedroom house means that down the road they have to put in for a transfer, they have to move into a bigger accommodation. I have people that are 10 years waiting for transfers in Donegal County Council to get moved out of a 2-bedroom house
into
to get
a
into a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah, okay.
And that's a huge problem in Letterkenny.
That's about stock management too, I suppose. Charles, what's being said to you?
Well, I'll just say before what's been said to me, when you're dealing with a commercial contract and you talk about a verbal agreement, then you are doomed.
Mm-hmm.
And that there is just sums up Donegal County Council's dealings.
I think it's so both parties have an out, but and I think there's been a slight adjustment in relation to that now.
But you need, you need the housing, so you should have a skilled negotiator doing the deal. The deal is a thing. So what I've heard about immigration, right? It's a big issue, okay? Definitely a big issue. I work in healthcare. We have the majority of the people working with me are fantastic. And they're from India, they're from Africa, and we need them. Now, undocumented males coming into the country that don't have passports, yes, it can't be tolerated, okay? It can't be tolerated because they have to be vetted. We need to protect our families, and if they're perfectly well and fit people for coming into our communities, then let them be vetted. Let's find out all about it.
Documented, and from unsafe countries.
Yes.
Okay. That's what people want.
That's what people want. That's what people want. And I'll just say about that.
Do you think then the problem, which is unfortunate, is that what would seem as somewhat simple demands then are being sort of misused to imply that people are racist or people are...
Well, what it is you've got the government that are actually... they're actually helping their European brothers by taking in all these immigrants that they don't have the room for. We don't have the room. We don't have the services. Mm-hmm. And the way they're doing it, this bus loads in the night, moving people about, it's just... The government have not read the room. They've not read the room.
OK, Garvin, did you indicate to come in there?
Just in terms of what Charles has really helped it there, I mean, the Irish is one of the most welcoming countries in the world in terms of Irish persons. I mean, one of the most welcoming people in the world. And the whole area with social inclusion, I mean, we're very good at that, And I mean, as Charles documented and a number of the other candidates here, in terms of the whole vetting and etc., needs to be brought on board, because only us that works with a football club or a school or any organisation has to be vetted.
Yeah, OK. Frank McBrearty, you wanted to come in there?
There's one big elephant in the room here when it comes to immigration: political corruption, and the fact that people are being made millionaires overnight. And I mean, I heard it in your debate the first day about a sitting county councillor who's actually taking people in here, and he's running around this county looking to buy properties up left, right and centre, and no company is actually in his name.
Yeah, well, listen, I don't know who you're talking about, and
I've done my investigations.
You can do that, Frank, and you can go on your Facebook or your YouTube channel and make those claims. I don't know who you're talking about or what the allegation is just that we can't talk. Firstly, the individual opportunity's not here, and you can't say those things.
Why hotels been bunged to the eyeballs, getting tax-free money for putting refugees in?
Charles, did you want to come back?
I would just like to say too about the housing issue. Now, young couples, and you know who you are. You're all over the county. You're currently living in caravans because you can't afford houses. That's what's going on now. There's no more moving out of home with your partner and getting your first property, because $1,200 to $1,400 a month, you can't afford it if you're wanting to buy a house.
Okay.
People are living in caravans all over the place.
And just before,
another aspect here: 2,000 council houses have to be demolished.
Yes.
The scientific evidence shows that they have to be demolished, and the council now at the minute are not even telling the council tenants where they're going to put them. So, I mean, that's another huge problem coming down the road.
An awful lot of anxiety amongst those families as well. Just before we take a break and move to some other things, Tony or Garvin, did you want to come back in there at all?
I mean, I was born in maybe 50s, and those of you in this room in their 40s and their 50s were lucky enough to own a home. Unfortunately now, it's a way, I don't know, young couple starting out, well, never, because I mean, in a catch-22, they're paying £1,200 to £1,800 a month in rent, which is a massive mortgage if you look at it, and then you have to have savings to get on the property, rather. So you kind of cut. You're like a wee hamster. You're going around the circle and you're going nowhere.
Okay, listen, all of you, thank you. Did you want to come back in, Tony?
Just to say that, Ireland has to abide by their international obligations and show compassion to people.
Those are obligations, though, and I'm only saying it to you because someone's about to text it. Those are obligations we opted into.
And there's been a symbolic approach from the government on this issue from the very beginning. The system simply isn't working. The system should be fair, it should be efficient, and it should be enforced. And neither of these things are happening at the moment. And people are right, we need proper communication with communities. There's genuine anxiety out there due to that lack of consultation.
Okay, right, thank you very much for that. You are tuned to the latest in our debates here on the 9 till noon show. In studio with us we have Tony McDaid, who you've just heard from, of Sinn Féin, Charles Ward, 100% Redress, Frank McBrearty JR, an independent, Rebecca McDaid of AONTU, and Garvin Connolly of Fine Gael. Do you want to fire the break from there? Thanks very much, Osh. And we have more of your questions, more of your comments coming in. I just want to remind you too as well that our penultimate EU election debate takes place exclusively online at 12:05. So if you want to watch that, we've got a number of candidates for you to either put questions to or hear statements from. That is coming up at 12:05 on YouTube, so stay tuned for that. Right, we'll be back with more from our local election candidates after we take this break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Mass exodus of small farmers. For more in your Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
We reveal why thousands of small farmers will get out of farming in the next 5 years. Government set to review hedge cutting and burning dates. Find out when your next acres payment will arrive. Key changes to tax reliefs on land transfers. New payment for farmers to build small-scale solar and wind farms. Live exporter demand drives up lamb prices. And exam tips for agricultural science students.
All inside the Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
Summer is here and so is the hottest sale of the year at Easy Living Furniture. Absolutely everything reduced across sofa, dining, bedroom, mattress and accessories. The spectacular summer sale is now on at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, Easy Living has it all. Easy Living Furniture. Luxury furnishings, affordable luxury.
Welcome to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms in Donegal Town. Discover affordable luxury with our bespoke fitted furniture solutions. With almost 30 years of serving Ireland and the Northwest, we're your trusted experts. Visit us Monday to Thursday, 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. with late night openings Fridays until 7. Book your free consultation today on 074 9725 822 or visit cherrymore.ie. Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, where affordability and luxury combine.
When spending time at our beaches, rivers and lakes, put water safety first. Safe always supervises children closely. Safe wears a life jacket when boating or angling. Safe swims within your depth and stays within your depth. This is Water Safety Ireland. Better safe than sorry. For advice, visit watersafety.ie. Supported by the Government of Ireland.
Join us at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny this Saturday, May 25th with Patrick Feeney live for a country dinner dance. Dinner dance admission €50 or just the dance €15 pay at the door. On Sunday, don't miss Jimmy Buckley and his band for Country Sundays with music afterwards in McGettigan's Bar till late. It's all happening this weekend at the Clanry Hotel.
There's 25% off all clothing at F&F until Wednesday, 29th of May with your Tesco Club card or app. That's 25% off relaxed summer silhouettes so you can chill poolside or gardenside. F&F, fashion at Tesco. Subject to availability. Available in the majority of larger stores.
Bag big deals on even bigger brands at TK Maxx. We're talking women's wear wins with holiday essentials from sleek swimwear to luxe linen and designer sunnies. All under $34.99. Head in store today to fill your suitcase with fresh summer savings. After all, everyone knows there's no deal like a TK Maxx deal.
On Business Matters this week, my guest is Larissa Feeney, president of the Donegal Women in Business Network, which celebrates its 25th anniversary this year. She's also the founder of Accountant Online, which has just been rebranded. We'll also be looking forward to the Highland Radio Customer Service Awards night, so join me, Chris Ashmore, on Business Matters after the 6 o'clock news on Sunday.
Business Matters on Highland Radio is brought to you by Local Enterprise Office Donegal. If you have an idea to start or grow your business within Donegal, contact the Local Enterprise Office team to find out more about the supports available for businesses. See localenterprise.ie/Donegal.
This Friday is Guide Dog Day. At Irish Guide Dogs for the Blind, we need your support to change the lives of those who are vision impaired and the families of children with autism. Donate at guidedogs.ie or call 0818 506 300. Support us and you will be changing lives.
The neighbours have done it. Your friends have done it. Even your mum's done it. Now you can do it too. Save €10,000 on a new Nissan Leaf. There's never been a better time to switch to electric. Nissan Leaf with €10,000 off for a limited time only. Visit nissan.ie or contact your local Nissan dealer right now for details. Nissan. Innovation that excites. Savings inclusive of €3,500 SEAI EV grant. Terms and conditions apply.
Summer has arrived. It's time to book the ultimate rural escape at McBrearty's Hotel Kildaff, celebrating 100 years of warm Irish welcomes. Relax in the beautiful Donegal countryside, stay in one of our 17 cosy bedrooms, enjoy a fabulous meal in our front room, and take a walk on the stunning Blue Flag Beach. Book your break now at mcbrearys.ie, quoting Highland Radio.
Okay, sort of a catch-all of a lot of issues in relation to services in the Finn Valley area, Lifford, Stranorlar, however it wants to be framed. Supports for children's disability services. Donegal East, vacancy levels in Donegal East, CDNT still at 65%. This listener, Joe from SNPN Donegal, says we really need our local representatives in Donegal East to support us all on this. And then there are question marks over services in St. Joseph's, the future of services in Lifford. What do you have to say about that, Rebecca? I mean, are you committing to fully back the CDNT families, the families campaigning in this area, to come up with some sort of a solution? Because there's a huge shortfall there in staff.
Because I'm an SNA, so I work with children with disabilities. And we have our candidate in Donegal Town there, Patrick Brogan. He is working with the carers as well, because he's 4 children that have autism. So this is something that's very, very deep with us in our hearts. We also have the children in school who are not getting assessed. Like, every school is only allowed 2 children to be assessed per year, which usually they hold that for 6th class. But we are absolutely missing the whole thing with our children from 1st class up. Because when they go into junior infants, senior infants, they're finding their feet. They're only new. They're getting to know school and how school works for them. But when you get into 1st class, you need to be able to assess the children. And the teachers, I believe, they do know. When you spend a certain amount of time with the children, you can weigh up exactly where they fit in, how they process their information, and you know where they sit there. And the teachers have got to be given the help and the resources to work with that. So they're put into a class with maybe 30 odd children. You know, could be 32, could be 33 children, and it's like everything. There's no one size fits all. So there'll be children who maybe are more, say with dyslexia, that they need to be assessed at a very early stage, so that they can be taught in a way that they can
maximise their potential.
To maximise their potential. And that is something that is missing at the minute. So yes, there is resources and they can be taken out of class and they can be getting help from that perspective. But there needs to be a proper assessment and there needs to be education that is delivered to them in a way that they can accept the information.
We've seen changes announced this year by the Department of Education that makes the allocation of additional teacher supports next year. There are changes to that. One of the changes is in qualifying criteria, access to additional supports in mainstream school settings. A lot of people say, for instance, with children with Down syndrome, that's not being counted as it was in the past. The Department of Education maintains, no one's going to lose any hours, but I do know that is a major concern for parents out there.
Yeah, and when we talk about inclusion, we want to include the children with disabilities in mainstream school, but and that has been recognised quite a bit. But we have autism units in a lot of schools now, but there's so much more needing to be added to that too.
I mean, the complex need criteria is what I'm referring to. That's been refuted. That's been taken out, and it's been taken out, and now the government is saying that children, there's plenty of special classes now and schools to cater for their needs, but that's the opposite of inclusion, I would have thought. Yeah. Do you have concerns, Garvin Connolly of Fine Gael, do you have concerns?
I actually work as a special education needs teacher in Northern Ireland in Oma, and actually with the work, we were very, very lucky in terms of K. Gordon, the Moore Nicer School has quite a number of units, and I actually would have subbed there over the years and a few other schools here in Donegal, and Rebecca quite rightly said about in terms of actually getting the children tested early on, and one of the things also that I would have come across when I was out in the campus was the need for respite care for families with children with special needs, special areas. There is the service area with the HSE, but there's no building to send the children to. There's no place to send them to here in the county.
But in terms of a lot of these,
of
course, there's a big fundraiser coming up in August to extend services. And I think that's part of the plan. But the positions in CDNT in Donegal East are funded in there, right? Yeah. But people can't be attracted to those roles. Yeah. Why do you think that is, given the fact that you work in the broad area?
Yeah. Probably, it's a job, it's a specific calling, I think, in life to work in that specific area. And I would have qualified as a mainstream teacher over 20 years ago, and I went back at this about 3 years ago. And it's a specific calling. There's quite a number of people would have started with me subbing, and they're all pulled dependent. So it's a specific calling, but it's a very, very rewarding calling. But
do we not need to sort of stop looking at it? This is no disrespect to you, but stop looking at it as a vocation and actually make sure we look at it as a very difficult job that you have to be inclined to do and make sure people are well rewarded for that.
And having the proper resources in place so that people will...
OK. Yeah. I'll mix the orders up a little bit. Everyone's going to get their say, of course. Charles Ward, I know as part of some of the issues that you see as key, it's not just defective concrete. It is education, it is childcare, care in the community.
Yeah, so I'll just go into the other aspect. My wife runs the autism unit in the Finn Valley College, along with her sister, Aisling Conley. And they have a large number in there. They have a large number of SNAs that are in there helping them. But as I say, there's not enough. They need more help. They need more funding. It's in the community now. When these children get to a certain age and they leave school, what is there for them? Nothing. And this is you as somebody.
If it's not for iCare and Blue Stack, from 18 on, there isn't literally nothing. As far as I'm aware.
I'll just give you an example now. My wife and all that team there work. They give everything to them children, and they don't. It's a vocation. So I feel very passionate about that, and I feel for them that. You invest in them from 11, 12 years and then they're gone. And then you've got to switch off to the next crowd that come. And this next bunch of kids that are coming, you do the same thing. And it's just like a production line.
Why do we do that if we have sort of an 8 billion surplus, right? If we have 250,000 children now with all variation of needs who are disadvantaged financially, that it means to say that they don't often know where the next meal is coming from. How do you square that circle that we see the gaps in those services and we see the deprivation that 250,000 children are living in, and then we're told we're rich and we have 8 billion in surplus? Can you square that circle? Do you want to?
So it's about community. It's about community activism. It's about getting these children that are vulnerable and helping them. I ran the youth club in Drumkeen for a number of years. I've worked with Freuge, a big brother, little brother programme.
Which is a brilliant programme.
And I've actually been to Freuge when we've done the young mothers when they take the young mothers out in outings, and I've actually gone and helped out with that too. And it's all about support. You know, people have different traumatic experiences in their life, and how you handle it is to do with the people that surround you. Okay, so I'll take for example me. I lost my father at 9, but the people around me helped me, and I got over it. But there's children that don't lose their parents. So children that's parents have got issues. They've got depression. They've got other problems. But it's a matter of getting them, and you know, just a simple thing is coming up to youth club, having a cup of tea, having a talk. There's nowhere. You know, there is youth clubs and that there, but there's no. It's a lot now. People, especially with social media, people aren't associating the way they used to. You know, they're not hanging out the way they used to, and it's all face to face, is on the phone or it's on chats, and you don't see the problems.
Yeah, I get you.
Until it's maybe too late.
Okay, clearly something you're very passionate about. As all of our panel are. Frank McBrearty, obviously, you know, in this area, the area of mental health is one of your priorities as mayor of the county, and I'm sure this is coming up an awful lot, and not just in the election cycle, but through the course of your tenure on the council.
Well, as they say, it's okay not to be okay. So, but mental health is broken. And these services we're talking about now are also broken. I have a daughter, 14 years, that has been working in Little Angels, and they're getting a fantastic new facility built up here. But it's been too slow getting it. And I mean, Rafo National School, which is St Eunan's, we have the unit in the Rafo Central, but Rafo has now been given St Eunan's have been given the funding for their unit. And they built on a fantastic, last year, they built on a fantastic new extension. But these are not being rolled out. There's no out-of-the-box thinking. Every school, in my opinion, and every community should have these facilities for the people of our area. But the political will is not there at national level to ensure that these things are rolled out. But as councillors, we should be raising this on the floor of the council chamber and in representations through the floor of the council chamber to the national politicians, highlighting these issues on a daily basis. And that has not been done because of the bureaucracy and the power sharing agreement in Donegal County Council.
Would you say you haven't done it enough either? To be fair, I don't know what goes on in the council, but when you say we, does that include yourself? Do you think
we all could be doing better? We all could be highlighting issues. The problem is that a lot of the individual cases that come to me are individual. They don't come to me as a group. And what do you call it? With data protection and all the issues that go with it, like that's a problem as well that we have as politicians. A lot of the time now, the council, the HSE, the social welfare. No, sorry, you can't make political representations unless you've got a permission letter from the client to make those political representations. So you have to go back then, you have to write out the permission letter, get the client to sign the permission letter, and then you have to then start all over again, doing the same process, making the same political representations. And this has been done at national level. This is all politics is local. Whether you're a national politician in the county or not, it's all politics is local.
What organisations like the CDNT parents want,
but mental
is
health,
that they of course, and they recognise that look, maybe these changes can't happen on the floor of the council, but they can feel that the local public representatives have their back in their campaign, and that can be done through motions.
We don't have enough CPT therapists, the cognitive behavioural therapists. We don't have enough people that deal with people with other mental health issues. Go back 20 years ago when I had my own mental health problems, which I discussed at that conference. I had the services. I had the Charlie McHughes and Dr. Tony Sharkey, who was a consultant psychiatrist in Letterkenny Hospital, and I'm not ashamed to talk about my own mental health problems, and that's a huge issue in Irish society, full stop. People should be able to share their experience about their own mental health problems. Suicide is a huge issue in this area, but it's a taboo that people do not want to talk about. Why are people
I just want to make
suicide?
sure, Tony, indeed, that is the question. Tony McDaid, your views on this?
I suppose the question needs to be asked, Greg. I think you alluded to yourself. There was 8 or 9 million surplus from the HSE. Why is that
in the state, and not the HSE, but
the state? Why can that not be used? You know, there's a lack of willingness. to support these different projects. When I worked in Roe over 20 years ago, there were one of the particular groups that we established was a group for children with learning differences. Now, I agree with Rebecca. You can't use textbook for every child in a room. It's about identifying those children's learning differences and pitching your teaching to those differences. I will fully support CNT families if I'm elected to Donegal County Council.
Okay.
I have no difficulty bringing motions.
One point, Greg. Assessment of children at the spectrum. I have cases where people are still waiting at 14 years of age to be assessed under the spectrum.
No, unfortunately, we all have experience of that, I think, either directly or indirectly.
And that's not right. That's they're treating people like second-class citizens in this country.
Right. 30 seconds each, really, just to hammer home the point. Rebecca McDaid of AONTU, why should people vote for you?
Well, I want to be able to treat everyone with dignity and respect. And I think that's something that has been lost in Irish politics, both nationally and locally. And I want to be able to support the people with common decency. And if I'm elected, what I can say to the people is, when they come to me with their issues, I will be asking the questions and I will give them the honest answer.
Garvin Connolly.
And from a rural farming background, I mean, one of the things I want to, if I'm elected, is I will be on the ground for people. I mean, one of the things I think is as a county councillor, we go around canvassing once every 5 years. You need to be on the various town vans over the period of time that people can get access to you. I mean, I want to be kind of there to help people in terms of their problems and to help signpost and make services a lot more accessible.
Okay. Tony McDaid, what do you want to bring?
Well, as I said earlier, 40 years experience in community development, early intervention and prevention and family support, and I think I can bring that experience of my life experience to Donegal County Council. As I said earlier, we have 18 candidates standing right across the county. Of those 18 candidates are elected on the 7th of June. There's strength in numbers. There's a lot of things that we can bring to the floor of Donegal County Council.
All right, Frank McBrearty Jr. in 30 seconds.
Well, I want to continue to fight for people's rights, and that's why I got involved in politics in the first place. And I have been a full-time public representative doing that job for the last 15 years, and I think my reputation speaks for itself, the amount of people that I've actually helped in those 15 years. Okay. I can't help everybody, and I'll be the first to admit that I don't resolve everybody's issues, but a very large percentage of the cases that come to me on a daily basis, I get them resolved. I don't get them resolved the first time over. I might have to fight 2 or 3 different times, such as medical care being appealed and cares allowance. You might have to go 3, 4 times over the hurdles to get the result that the person deserves. But we must emphasise that we are not second-class citizens in Donegal.
Thanks, Frank. Charles McDaid, beg your pardon. Charles Ward, finally, 100% redress.
Yeah, so I'm going to, if I get elected, I'm going to be coming in, I'm going to be helping people with their defective concrete homes, but I'm also on the ground too, and I'm helping people with mental health issues, anybody has any problems, they come to me. I'm about getting on with it, helping people, and I'm actually trying to get elected because I want the club broken up down Lifford. I want independent people in who think for themselves, that don't have to go to a party, and that can help people, finally help them.
Tony, Charles, Frank, Rebecca, Garvin, thank you very much for your contributions today. That's where we leave it. We'll be back with another debate tomorrow just after 10 o'clock involving local election candidates. And if you want to watch our European debate, get online from 12:05 and we'll be with you for an hour in that space. And stay tuned to the radio for John Breslin. He's coming up around the Northwest and he's out, I believe, at iMotors. So you've got a choice. See you soon.
The 9 till noon show.